Welcome back to day two of the Hope Builders Youth Initiative. Today, we're going to build on everything we talked about in day one with academic reading skills. And we're going to talk about how we can use everything we learned to create good academic essays. So let's go ahead and get started with academic writing. So there are many different styles of writing. We've got several listed here from friendly letters, stories, poems, journal entries, research reports. And today we're going to talk about the 5 paragraph essay. So there are many reasons people write, many reasons beyond what we see listed here. People might write emails, they might write self-reflections. Many of you will go on to write a master's thesis or a doctoral dissertation. I hope you all do. But all of these types of writing are different. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what makes academic writing special. We're also going to talk about audience awareness. So, academic writing is different from other types of writing. And one of the things that sets it apart is this notion of argument. We've got a thesis statement, which is what we're arguing in our essay, and we're going to support that with facts, details, and examples. So, when you're talking about writing your thesis or writing a thesis statement, you're crafting your argument. You're taking a stand on a particular issue. I think this is easy to see when we're writing an opinion essay. So today that's largely the subgenre of academic writing that we're going to focus on, but this is something that is going to extend to all genres of academic writing. But you're going to see this in particular in today's essay. That's why I've chosen this so it really stands out for us. We want to take a stand and we're going to support it. So I want you to think a little bit about audience awareness. So your audience is the person who's going to be reading your essay. And a good way to practice this or to get some awareness of how we should treat our different audiences is to think, how would you talk to your teacher? And how would you talk to your best friend? Certainly, you're not going to have the same relationship with your teacher that you have with your best friend. When you're talking to your best friend, you're going to be far more informal. You might joke around, you might tease each other. You're probably not going to do that with your teacher. You need to have a more formal relationship with your teacher. Since it's probably your teacher who's going to be reading your academic essay, you want to use more formal language when you're writing for your teacher. So, another thing that's really important about English academic writing is that we want to state our argument clearly and directly. We want to state it right away in the beginning of our essay. In our introductory paragraph, we want to let our audience know how we feel about this topic. So this is different from culture to culture. I know in some cultures we should be a little less direct and a little bit softer, particularly when we're writing for a teacher. And I want you to know that's okay. There's no right way or wrong way. It's just this awareness that there are different ways. And when we're writing for an Anglophone audience, we want to ensure that we're being direct with our English academic essays. So again, we said that our 5 paragraph essay is going to be based on an argument. We're stating that argument directly. And within the body of our essay, we're supporting our argument with reasons, details, and examples. So we're going to look at how we do this. Here we've got a short 5 paragraph essay on the importance of studying hard. So I'm going to let you pause this and read through this essay. And as you come back here to look at this essay in detail, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight some of the important features. So first of all, we're looking for the author's argument or the author's thesis. And remember, I said this essay is on the importance of studying hard. Our author thinks It's important to spend as much time as possible studying hard. That's his or her argument. That's the thesis statement. And that's in the last sentence of the introductory paragraph. So they tell us this right away. Because I know that I can usually find my thesis in the last sentence of the introduction, as a good reader, I'm going to look there. Now, your job as a writer is to help other academic readers. So you want to make sure that you're placing your thesis statement where another reader can easily find it, where they expect to find it. And that's in the last sentence of the introductory paragraph. So this is the argument here. It's important to spend as much time studying as possible. Well, I want to know why. Why do you think that way? So the author's given us three big ideas that support that. They say it's going to enhance our knowledge and skills. It's going to help ensure that we get into a good college or university. And it's going to help us to get a good, stable job after university. Those are the three big ideas. Each big idea has its own body paragraph. Body paragraph 1, 2, and 3. Not only does the author tell us these big ideas in the body paragraph, but they mention them here in the introduction. So as a reader, when I see this, I know exactly what the writer is going to tell me. I know what to expect as I'm reading it. It serves as a kind of roadmap for the rest of the essay. And then when I get to the end, after the writer has really given me a lot of detail on each of these big points, I can see that he or she goes back and restates all of those big points. A great way to think about this is as academic writers, we want to tell our audience what we're going to tell them. We do that in the introduction. Then we want to tell them. We do that in the body. And then we want to tell them everything that we just told them. We do that in the conclusion. So in each body paragraph, we're going to need to give a little bit more information about each of these big ideas. So I'm going to look at body paragraph 1. It says studying hard will help enhance our knowledge and skills. And then it gives details and examples. It's important to understand our nation's history, laws, and how our societies functions. Basic skills like math and reading are important in all aspects of life. Other skills like computing will help us be successful in our daily life. So we can see lots of great supporting details about that first big idea. When I look at the second big idea, it's going to help ensure we get into a good college or university. Well, I can see that good schools are competitive and students with high grades get into the best schools. And it's not possible without hours of hard work. So, our work ethic is also going to help us when we get into those universities because we're going to have to continue working hard. Then we go to our last paragraph here. It can help us to get a good, stable job. We can see companies want workers that are devoted and hardworking, having strong skills, a good university education, which we talked about in the second paragraph, and a strong work ethic can help us to enter and succeed at those companies. And that's going to make our life more comfortable and enjoyable. So we can see we've got all of that great information, those supporting details contained within each body paragraph that tells us more about each one of those big ideas. So as I said, in our introduction, we want to place that thesis statement at the end, the last sentence in our introduction. But that's not the only thing a good introduction should include. Okay, remember, I said that I've got these three big ideas here. I want to highlight those in my introduction. And I showed you that earlier. That's going to be my roadmap. So that gives your reader an indication of where you're going with your essay. You also want to get your reader's attention. Engage your reader with the first sentence. We want them to continue reading our essay. And that first sentence says, today's sacrifices will lead to tomorrow's successes. That's a very strong first sentence, a very strong opening sentence. It hooks the reader, it gets me to want to continue reading. So when you want to hook your reader, you can use a strong statement, you can use a statistic, or you can use a startling fact. So let's take a look at a different essay here. Okay, when we look at this introductory paragraph, I can see the author hooks the reader by including an important statistic about high school students feeling stressed because of their homework. Then the author says, nightly homework causes stress, limits family and free time, and does not always improve learning. So I expect to read more about those three big ideas. And the author's thesis statement or argument, reducing daily homework could lead to healthier and more balanced lives. So we can see it's like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. Now let's take a look at the body, and we're going to go back to our original essay on hard work. As I said, each body paragraph should tell me one of the big ideas. That's going to be the main idea of that paragraph, and we call that the topic sentence. And I can see each body paragraph has a strong topic sentence right there. So what information is going to follow the topic sentence in each paragraph? That's our supporting details. So as you can see here, we've got more information about studying hard to enhance our knowledge and skills. And I showed you how we also see that in the second and third body paragraphs. So let's take a look at this essay on homework. So if I go through this, I can see that I've got my topic sentence here. It can cause a lot of stress, takes away valuable family and personal time, and doesn't always help students to learn more. As I go through each paragraph, well, how does it give them stress? Students are tired and overwhelmed after school. These extra assignments create anxiety. It's also especially difficult for students who are involved in sports clubs and other activity. And too much homework can affect mental health and sleep patterns. So we can see there are a lot of problems there related to stress. Those are all supporting details. And we can go through and we can find that in paragraph 2 and 3 as well. Now, if we look here, I'm going to switch to these boxes. We see the words first, in addition, and finally. We call these words transition words or sequence words because they help to signal the order. I let the reader know that I'm moving from one big idea to the next big idea. So in our structure, our essay structure is quite simple because each paragraph is going to be its own big idea. But as you write lengthier, more involved essays, you may focus on one big point over several paragraphs, in which case your transition words are going to become really important because you're going to want to signal to your reader that you're moving to your next big idea. So the conclusion of our essay is really easy. You're not going to introduce any new information in your conclusion. You do want to signal the end of your essay. And you can do that in a variety of ways. In conclusion is very easy. You can say, to sum up, in closing, there are many different ways that you could signal the end or signpost that you're coming to the end of your essay. You want to restate your thesis. Studying hard in school is important. You want to restate the three big ideas. It can help us gain the knowledge and skills we need in life and help us get into a good college and get a new job. And finally, you want to leave your reader with a concluding thought. Tomorrow's rewards demand today's sacrifice. So, what a great way to close out your essay. So, let's go back to our other practice essay here. So, we can see that the author signals the end of the essay by saying, in conclusion. Then I can see the author restates the thesis by saying, reducing daily homework could lead to healthier, more balanced lives for students. They restate the three big ideas. Daily homework adds stress, steals time from family and personal life, and is not guaranteed to support learning. And finally, it leaves the reader with a concluding thought. Students need a balanced life. Reducing nightly homework is one step in the right direction. So, what I want you to do is take a look at this essay. You can read through this, and I want you to tell me about what features you see here, what features of the academic essay you see. And does the author do a good job stating his or her opinion in this essay? Okay, so I want you to work on your own to write your own opinion essay. And I want you to use this graphic organizer. State your opinion about the following topic. What's the best way to learn a language? You might say listening to music is the best way to learn a language. Watching TV is the best way to learn a language. Attending classes or living in another country. And I want you to think of 3 reasons why you think that's the best way. So each reason should be listed in one of these boxes. And for each reason, you should have 3 details, facts, examples that support that reason. So you might talk about listening to music. And you might talk about listening to music improves your listening skills. And you might talk about how it's so easy for us to memorize the words to our favorite song. And that helps us to listen carefully for what people are saying. We also could mention that very often we can read the lyrics, and that helps us to pick up on the proper pronunciation. Something like that. Any type of evidence that supports your big idea. And you can also use this particular handout here to structure your essay as you begin to draft it. You've got language here for expressing your opinion, and you've also got some of those transition words that we talked about here at the bottom. All right, great work. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this program, and I look forward to seeing you in another lesson at the Language Arts Gallery.